Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you today. Yep, Nico is still looking. This UCLA deal is not done, and he's still out there grinding. And Tennessee's definitely hunting a quarterback.
Shh. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Oh, yeah. Be very, very quiet. Tennessee needs a quarterback, and they're looking in many places. We're going to talk all about that, too. But we also had a little helpy helperton in Lane Kiffin. He talks about this. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you a clip of a former Heisman Trophy winner, also an NFL All-Pro, that had a lot to say about this, and it will shock you. I didn't expect this at all. But first, let's get into what Lane had to say about it. Of all the people in all the places in all the world to talk about this, Lane Kiffin.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
He should know a lot about Creek in Tennessee and heading off to the West Coast. Says Ole Miss coach Kiffin has the best take yet on the breakup between Nico and the Tennessee Vols. It says, so you can imagine nearly everyone with a keyboard or a microphone has a take on this situation. I have not. Liar! Okay, I've had a few takes on this. I think we all have. It's been the #1 story in the entire country when it comes to sports. And I don't care if you cover NFL, if you cover basketball, whatever, the Nico story's been a monster. And what Kiffin said, he said, it's not fair for folks to take shots at Iamaleava because there aren't many facts known about the situation. Most of what's been reported has been via anonymous sources instead of people going on the record about the situation. I don't think people blame Nico entirely at all. I think it's about his team. And I've been very square about that. I don't think Nico made this decision. I think his handlers made this decision for him. And at 20 years old, he should have stepped up and said, hey, I'm going to make my own decision on this one. I want to stay or whatever he decided. And maybe he did, but I blame more the people in charge. I'll just put it that way. Says, I'm not really going to comment much on that because I don't know all the details. And I think that happens a lot with media, with fans, says something to an unnamed source and all those things. All these comments are made in this instance about a kid. And we don't even have the facts. Now, I'm sure the reason he's being very defensive about this, if you'll remember, he went through this he caused this exact same thing in Knoxville, Tennessee back in the day about, I think it was around 2009 or 10.
Thanks for coming, guys. This was not an easy decision. This was something that happened very quick. A decision that myself and my family made. And we've been here 14 months. The support has been unbelievable here. I really believe that this is probably the only place that I would have left here to go, was to go to Southern Cal.
Yeah, you remember that. Tennessee had treated him like gold, and after one season, he leaves 24 hours before National Signing Day and tried to take a bunch of recruits with him and all the coaches. And then later on, a few years later, he got fired on the tarmac and didn't even get to travel back with the USC team. And then he spent 10 years in the wilderness. Biggest mistake he's ever made in his coaching career. And I'm sure he'd tell you that at this point if he was being honest. And he still misses Tennessee like crazy. I don't care what anybody says. He would have loved to have taken that job after the whole Bush Jones firing. But Tennessee wasn't going to have it.
I'm sorry, babe. I didn't mean that either. I just yell sometimes because I get so scared. I want to kiss you all over and over and again till the night closes in. Till the night closes in.
So I thought it was interesting Lane would chime in. It shouldn't surprise you. Now let's talk about Tennessee. They've got several quarterbacks in mind. They're primarily, it appears to be focused on the Big 12 quarterbacks. There's several of them. And one they're looking at is a Rocco Becht from Iowa State. They're also looking at Avery Johnson, Sam Levitt, which would be the ultimate get. I don't think he's gettable. And Sawyer Robinson and so on and so forth. But this Rocco Becht, obviously Iowa State's not thrilled about Tennessee thinking about him.
First, it was Rocco Becht to West Virginia. Then it was Joshua Jefferson entering the portal. And now it's Rocco Becht to Tennessee. I can promise you this. Rocco Becht ain't going anywhere unless he is. We're talking about today on Locked On Cyclones. But Tennessee does need to make a move. And so we're obviously going to look at where there's smoke, there is potentially fire. Names that are being thrown around, obviously Sam Levitt from ASU, Sawyer Robinson, Josh Hoover, Avery Johnson, and Rocco Becht in there as well. Now, Sam Levitt and Rocco Becht, the only two to make that Big 12 championship game, but some high-level play from these other Big 12 quarterbacks just as a whole. Of course, I'm sure that Tennessee is not only looking at these 5 guys, just this is a tweet that I pulled up. I do think this would be an upgrade.
And taking a look at Rocco Becht's stats, his completion rating over the last 2 years has been right at 60%, so not great. He throws for a lot of yards, 3,500, so, good solid numbers there. Touchdowns, he throws more touchdowns, but he also throws more interceptions. Rushing, he will rush the ball. He likes to run some, as you can see, anywhere from 20 to 50 yards, just depending on the game. Clearly a throw-first type of guy. But, not anything crazy good, not anything crazy bad, but a really good athlete. Another quarterback, we're talking about Steve Angeli. He just entered the transfer portal out of Notre Dame. And he's not played a ton, even though he's been at Notre Dame quite a while. As you can see, he's not played a ton. 44 attempts, 36 attempts, throws about 70%. Not really a running quarterback, has 10 touchdowns to 1 interception. Now, he's an older guy. He would only have like 1 year left, and not a running quarterback, so I don't know how good a fit that is. And he was the odd man out. Notre Dame had a 3-quarterback competition, and I think Coach Freeman had a conversation with him and pretty much said, you're going to be the 3rd-string guy. So, obviously, transfer portal. Makes sense. And you got to give the guy a lot of effort. He stuck with Notre Dame and really tried to get that starting role, and it just didn't happen for him. So that's one guy that Tennessee's going to look at, kick the tires on, but I don't think that's the fit they're looking for. And then one other guy that might pop up is Joey Aguilar, who had a great career over at Appalachian State for 2 years. 6'3", 220, very athletic, solid numbers, nothing great, but threw for a lot of yards while he was there. Broke a lot of records. But again, I don't know how big an upgrade this would be. But, compared to no experience, which you have now, at least he's played a lot of ball. But again, that was not at the highest level, not Power 4. Now, what I'm hearing, and I actually heard this from Basilio when he was on YouTube the other day, that they're going after a starter. They're not looking for somebody to necessarily compete for the starting job. They're looking for a guy that's going to come in and has a ton of starting experience, and it's going to cost money. And they're willing to spend it and bring in a guy to be the starter. So that would be your guys in the Big 12. And there's even been talk of the SMU guy. But what we're probably going to see is somebody enter the portal over the next 24, 48, 72 hours. And then shortly after that, you'll probably see an announcement. But anyway, that's what I'm hearing. So I don't think it'll be a whole lot longer before we start seeing some real names. Right now, it's just speculation. But they have talked to 3 guys, is our understanding. And one said absolutely not. And then there's 2 out there that are talking to him. And Tony said that one of the guys said, you're going to have to bring in another wide receiver or 2 to supplement. And the other guy, I think, just wants a lot of money. So that's what I know about the quarterback situation right now. And it's fast and furious. I mean, they're all over the place looking for a quarterback, as you can imagine. And speaking of the Nico thing, which is really what led to all this, this is a clip I want to show you that I told you on the front end would surprise you. This is Cam Newton, and I've never watched his show, which is called 4th and 1, and he put this on X. And he had a very interesting take on Nico. I thought he would be more supportive, which he kind of is as far as Nico as a young man. But as far as the decision, he did not like it.
Whoever gave him the advice to sit out killed that kid. Regardless of how you bounce back from this, you will be the example. He will have this as a stain on his career, and it's sad. I just hate that Nico, who's a good kid, who's a great guy, family is unbelievable. Had the opportunity to see Nico. He came to my QB challenge a couple years ago. And to observe him for those multiple days, I did not see this coming. But what I do understand about kids and college athletes is they're getting it from so many different, but bro, if I was you, bro, you heard how much he signed for? Just imagine, real example. When Carson Beck left Georgia to go to Miami and he realized, like, Carson Beck made $10 million? I'm better than Carson Beck. I know I can slap him for 12, but I'm just making 1.7, 2 million, 3. What NIL was and is intended for, it's just to make your college experience comfortable. This is not forever money. If you're getting advice from somebody who ain't never been in your situation, bro, man, you got to cite that. So, you know, when you used to write the papers and the teacher used to always say, you got to cite the source. Wikipedia is not a reliable source. There is not a more influential person in my life than my father. But there are certain things that my father can and cannot advise me on. And that's just respect. If Nico would have been successful at holding out, it would have started.
Everybody sitting there all across. No.
Understand, can you come back from this? Absolutely. The main thing is becoming the best football player that you possibly can be. The money will come.
Yeah, that surprised me, and that was actually very good advice. It's like, you know, quit focusing so much on every dollar bill in college when you can make a ton in the NFL, and quit listening to folks that have never been in your situation. You know, find an advisor that's actually been in this and understands it. And he's probably right. This is probably going to follow him for a long time. I don't know if that's necessarily fair since he didn't necessarily make the decision, but that's just kind of how it is. You know, he was the first guy to get the huge contract, the first guy to sort of hold out. You know, when you're the first, you're going to be remembered for that. So anyway, I thought you would find that interesting. And we'll keep up with this. I mean, this is the darndest thing I've ever seen. It's the most interesting thing I've covered in a long time. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, 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 hit this little button right here. Won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube thinks you'll enjoy based on your viewing history. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.